Hello, good morning everyone. Very warm welcome to babycode free PTE sessions. I'm Tanu Virmani, a PTE certified trainer and a Devil to Solve certified trainer. So I'm back with my live session number 18 for the PTE, which is about part 3 listening module. We have covered our part 1, part 2, which is about reading, and now we are covering the part 3. And the topic for today's session is highlight the correct summary. Now, what is this topic about? What you're supposed to do in this is, now it's about listening. You know that you have to listen something and then you have to write your answers. So in highlighting the correct summary, what they're going to evaluate is they're going to evaluate your listening and reading skills. How? You will be hearing an audio, the recording basically. You have to combine your information, you have to understand, you have to analyze the information, and then you have to identify the accurate summary of your recording. Highlight incorrect, highlight the correct summary. That means you have to look out for the correct summary of your recording. There will be options available for you, and you have to choose one of the correct summary for your recording. Now your screen will look like this. You can see on my screen that here will be the status bar beginning in 10 seconds, the volume. So you will be provided with 10 seconds of a time. Now you can see the 4 options here. You will hear a recording, click on the paragraph, the best relates to the recording. So once you hear your recording, then you have to summarize that which one is the suitable one. Now what this task is, as I told you, after listening to a recording, you have to select the paragraph, the best summarize the recording. That means the best summary of your recording. The prompt length will be for 30 to 90 seconds, and the skills which will be evaluated here is your listening and your reading skills. Number of tasks, it can be 1 or 2, and what will be the response length is that you have to select one of the correct responses. Basically, one correct response, not more than one. Marking criteria says that for one correct response, आपको 1 credit मिलेगा, right? And if you will write an incorrect one, if you will select the incorrect one, you will get 0 for the same. How to answer this question? Now you need to select the summary that best matches your recording, because audio begins to play automatically. You are only able to listen to the recording once. There are several possible reasons, possible options, but only one will be the correct answer. To select also, sorry, to select an option, you can click it on using the left button on your mouse. If you want to change your mind, you can again left click on the option to deselect it, or left click on a different option. And the option you will select will be highlighted in the yellow color, right? And it may be difficult to read and listen at the same time. So what is recommended is that you should listen first, make notes on your noteboard, and then read the summary again. Take notes and match them to the correct summary. Don't read the options before or while you are listening to a recording, because there is too much to read and this thing is going to distract you. So instead of that, what you can do is you can note down the key ideas on your erasable notebook booklet once you start hearing your recording. You can even jot down some of the keywords, the phrases, the numbers, the name, the dates, and any information which you believe that yes, the speaker is highlighting with his stress and intonation, right? So you can then read the options afterwards, match the options that is close to your notes. See here. So here is a notebook booklet. You can make notes and then you can summarize it. So scoring part, I have already told you that if you will write any incorrect one, if you will select the incorrect one, there will be no credit for the same. You have to select the most accurate summary of your recording. Now let's talk about some of the strategies, how well you can do that. Very first thing is that you have only 10 seconds before the recording starts playing. You can skim over the paragraphs to obtain the overall meaning of recording what you hear. When the recording starts, the most effective is that you can jot down your notes. Organize your notes in a greater or in a general outline way. Focus on the main ideas, leave out descriptions and explanation. Try to identify the topic sentence. That what is this about? Reread your notes and quickly summarize all the information in your head. Focus on each paragraph and eliminate the wrong one. You believe that yes, these keywords were not there in your recording, so you can eliminate that part and you can just start comparing with each one of them. Start eliminating, you're left with 3 points now, the three options, and then compare it with your notes also and summarize that what you have created in your head. So be ready. Let's talk about some of the quick tips. Be ready. Use 10 seconds as the audio countdowns to skim 4 summaries, right? You will not have time to read thoroughly. So be ready to listen and take notes of key ideas in your booklet. As you listen, take notes of the main and supporting ideas. Do not write everything on your booklet. Instead of write, what you can do is you can make the abbreviations, the keywords, the symbols, the arrows so that you can capture the most important ideas. Note any data given in support of an argument suggested by the speaker. You can mention that. Do not try to read the summaries as you listen. Each one is like 40 to 60 words, so there is too much information. Focus on your listening part. Otherwise, you're going to left out with what is there in your audio. Sorry. When the audio stops, what you do is use your notes now. Now you can select the correct options. Eliminate any options that contain incorrect information. Eliminate another option that focus on only one part of your information or contain information that was not mentioned at all, right? Second thing you can do this. Now check the remaining options against your notes. Now you can confirm it that it cover all the aspects of your lecture, of your recording or not. Select the option and then move on to the next part, right? Now these are the listening and the reading skills which are required. So please have a look at this. Start reading it quickly. Okay, so let's do one of the exercise and it will be more clear to you. Okay, now how to increase your score? Watch the status box. That means your audio status box. Skim the response options quickly. Concentrate on what you hear because the audio will be played only at once. Take notes, focus on the keywords, read the paragraphs carefully, eliminate the paragraph which contain incorrect information, eliminate the paragraph which do not contain the required information, right? Eliminate the paragraph which contain details but omit the main points, and then attempt the last one. Now let's do one exercise. I'm going to play an audio for you. You have 4 options here. The 4 summaries are here. You have to make notes while listening to the audio, right? So let's start.
So, where did this idea of evolution come from? Well, there are always ideas. You can go back to Aristotle and find elements of evolutionary thought in Aristotle. But really, it's a 19th century idea. And in order to see how it developed, let's go back to about 1790 or 1800. So at the end of the century of the Enlightenment. At that point, if you were to ask a well-educated person living in a Western culture how old the world is, they would say, oh, thousands of years. And if you were to ask them, well, where did all these species on the planet come from? They would say they were all created just the way they look now. and they've never changed. And if you ask them, have there ever been any species that went extinct? They would say no. Everything that was created is still alive and can be found somewhere on the planet. So when Alexander von Humboldt, who was certainly a creature of the Enlightenment, sets out to explore South America, he thinks that he might encounter some of those strange fossils that the French have been turning up in the Paris Basin on top of a tepue in Venezuela. So he really thought that there was a lost world. Of course, Arthur Conan Doyle later wrote a novel about that. But I mean, these guys actually thought, hey, I go to Venezuela or I go to the Congo, I might meet a brontosaurus. That was what they thought.
So you can look up the options and the notes also. So what he talked about, see the first one, he did not mention about anything related to the Western culture. B option, yes, he talked about different ideas about evolution and how it really came into the 19th century. Third one, there are different ideas about how like evolution or the Alexander was a person as a part of enlightenment. So he did not mention about who proposed some of these ideas. So this was not mentioned. D1, there are different ideas about evolution, and this is why Arthur Conan Doyle wrote a novel about a lost world. So he did not mention about a novel at that time. So the correct option is B, that there are different ideas about evolution, but these really came about in the 19th century. He clearly mentioned in his first two statements. Let's move toward the second question. Be ready with your answers. Start making notes first.
Let's make one point very clear at the outset. Oftentimes, I get student papers that refer to Beethoven's Fifth Song or Tchaikovsky's First Piano Song. Is that right? No, that's not good at all. Are these songs? What do you have to make something a song? Lyrics. You got to have a text. So we don't have, in 80% of classical music, we don't have lyrics. We don't have a text. Well, yes, with opera, of course, but the other 80% is purely instrumental music. It works its magic, again, through purely instrumental means. So we can't really call those songs. And this puzzled me. But one day, I was sitting there at iTunes, and I wanted to buy an interior movement of a Mozart serenade. So I was all set to purchase this, and it said, buy song. Boom. That told me the answer. That's where this terminology comes into play. Because on iTunes, we buy songs. It could be purely instrumental, but it's called buy a song. But we don't want to use that sort of parlance. We want to be a bit more sophisticated than that, if you will, and use other terms. So we'll talk generally about Beethoven's composition, or Beethoven's piece, or Beethoven's work, or his masterwork, or chef d'oeuvre, however fancy you want to get with it.
Yes. Now see, he did talk about terminology which is used on iTunes, but not the classical music should be called on. So see, all of the four statements demand you that classical music should be called songs. What is the reason? Why the classical music should be called songs? Not the first reason. Second reason says, but only if they have lyrics. Opera, for example, can be called songs. No, incorrect. That was not mentioned. And classical music should not be called song because 80% is purely instrumental. No, incorrect. Classical music should not be called songs because we should aim to be more sophisticated when referring to them. So this was the correct answer. For a better clarification, always make your note whenever you are listening to your audio so that you remember your keywords by the end. You can summarize your own recording and then you can select and match it with the options available in the question. So I hope this was an informative session and you got an idea that how you are supposed to do the highlight correct summary. So unlock your secret to PTE success. You can watch out the live sessions on the babycode application and even on the YouTube. Keep practicing, keep learning, and watch your PTE journey soon. Stay tuned for the more tips and strategies and the sample answers so that you can ace your exam and you can boost up your overall PTE score. Stay tuned. Bye bye, all of you. Take care.